If you think love is something pure and beautiful, think again. Because the goddess we're about to meet will show you that love can be seductive, but powerful enough to destroy the world. Welcome to the story of Aphrodite. She didn't conquer with weapons, armies, or fire. She ruled hearts, minds, and kingdom with nothing but beauty. But what if I told you that this goddess of love, Aphrodite, caused more destruction than many gods of war? From the depths of the sea, she emerged not just as a symbol of desire, but as a force of chaos. Wars were waged in her name. Kings made fatal choices for her favor, and even the gods themselves weren't safe from her influence. This is not just a story about love or beauty. It's about how power hides behind the softest smile. Stay with me as we uncover the real face of Aphrodite, the goddess who could love you or destroy you. When most people hear the name Aphrodite, they think of beauty, love, seduction. But behind her name lies something far more ancient and mysterious than just a pretty face in mythology books. Depending on who you ask, Aphrodite was either born from the blood and foam of a mutilated sky god or from the union of Zeus and Dione. But in both tales, one thing is clear. She wasn't just created, she was unleashed. Aphrodite wasn't like other gods. She didn't control storms or forge weapons. Her power was subtle and far more dangerous. She ruled through desire, the one force every mortal and immortal struggles to control. To the Greeks, she was the embodiment of irresistible charm. But that charm came at a price. Her presence alone could incite madness, jealousy, and obsession. Even the gods feared rejecting her favor. Her symbols, not what they seem doves, not just peace, but seduction in disguise. The rose, blooming beauty, but thorned pain. The mirror, vanity and reflection, both inward and outward. Think of her as the ancient world's Marilyn Monroe, a figure everyone adored, and yet no one truly understood. The gaze of millions, a blessing and a curse. She wasn't meant to be just loved, she was meant to be remembered. We often picture love as gentle, healing, a soft light in a dark world. But in the ancient world, love had a much sharper edge, and no one embodied that edge better than Aphrodite. Aphrodite didn't inspire love, she commanded it. Her beauty wasn't an invitation, it was an order. Gods, mortals, kings, all fell under her spell, often without understanding why. Love in her hands wasn't about choice, it was about surrender. And in that surrender came consequences. Hephaestus, her official husband, gifted and loyal, but ignored. Ares, lover of war, chaos, and passion. Their affair wasn't just scandalous, it was symbolic. Love and war, entwined. Adonis, a mortal she loved deeply, whose death she couldn't prevent. Her love stories were not fairy tales, they were collisions. Passionate, yes, but violent, unpredictable. No one left unchanged. What Aphrodite reveals is the truth we often ignore. Love, real love, can be dangerous when used as a weapon. How often today do we see relationships ruled by control, masked as affection? When we scroll past curated love lives on social media, how much of it is authentic and how much is performance? Aphrodite's world isn't gone. It's on our screens, in our stories, still making people chase perfection and losing themselves in the process. They say love can build nations, but in the hands of Aphrodite, it destroyed one. It all began with a party, a divine wedding feast on Mount Olympus. But Eris, goddess of discord, wasn't invited. And like all great villains, she didn't take it well. With a smirk, she tossed a golden apple into the crowd, engraved with just 4 words, "To the fairest one." 4 words that would soon burn a city to the ground. Hera, power and kingship. Athena, wisdom and glory in war. Aphrodite, love and the world's most beautiful woman. The judge? A Trojan prince named Paris. His choice would shape the fate of the ancient world, and Aphrodite, she knew exactly what to offer. Aphrodite didn't promise peace. She promised Helen, the most beautiful woman alive. Problem was, Helen was already married to the king of Sparta. Paris accepted, and with that one decision, Aphrodite sealed Troy's fate. For beauty, for love, 1,000 ships sailed to war. What began as a competition of pride ended in death, destruction, and betrayal. But here's the truth. This war wasn't about love. It was about ego. Aphrodite didn't care about Paris, or Helen, or Troy. She cared about winning, being the fairest, being chosen. In a world driven by validation, likes, followers, praise, how different are we from those gods fighting over an apple? How far would we go to be seen as the most? We're still caught in the same trap, mistaking attention for love and beauty for worth. This story isn't just about a goddess's promise. It's about human weakness, how we fall not for what we need, but for what flatters us. Aphrodite may have been born in myth, but her legacy didn't fade with temples and scrolls. In fact, she's more present today than ever. She just changed form. Scroll your feed. What do you see? Flawless skin, perfect angles, poses crafted. Not for memory, but for validation. Aphrodite once stood as the goddess of beauty. Now she lives in algorithms, rewarding perfection and punishing authenticity. We don't worship in temples anymore, but we still kneel. To the Kardashians, the Jenners, the pop stars, the influencers. And what do they all sell us? A dream, a lifestyle, a face we'll never truly have. Like Aphrodite, they mesmerize. But unlike gods, their perfection is manufactured and monetized. Take the story of a teenager named Maya. By 15, she already had lip fillers and edited every photo. Why? Because every post with more likes was a shot of dopamine, a moment where she felt worthy. One day, she collapsed in school from a panic attack, triggered by not looking good enough in a group photo. That's Aphrodite's curse, not imposed, but internalized. In mythology, Aphrodite used beauty to control others. Today, we use it to control ourselves. Every heart button, every swipe, a vote on our worth. The more seductive the image, the more power it holds. Whether we know it or not, we're all in Aphrodite's arena, competing for affection, for visibility, for being chosen, just like that golden apple centuries ago. What happens when desire turns into obsession? When love stops healing and starts breaking people? In 1997, Princess Diana died in a car crash, chased by paparazzi hungry for just one more image of her, an icon of beauty, divorced from royalty, but still adored by millions. Her every move was watched, every smile analyzed. She was loved, but also devoured. Like Aphrodite, she became a symbol, and like all symbols, she was never truly safe. Rapper XXXTentacion's life was fueled by chaotic love. His relationship with Geneva Ayala was full of passion, jealousy, and violence. He became a superstar, but not without cost. His story wasn't just about fame or music. It was about the inability to control the fire you light in someone else. Aphrodite didn't teach restraint. She embodied surrender. And in that, surrender, some lose themselves. From Shakespeare's Othello to tabloids covering breakups with words like betrayal and revenge, our world remains obsessed with romantic downfall. Jealousy, ego, insecurity, these aren't side effects. They're part of love's architecture when shaped by power and possession. Aphrodite's gift was love, but without responsibility. And maybe that's the problem. We crave the ecstasy, but ignore the cost. When someone says, "I can't live without you," is it love or control? When we chase someone who doesn't want us, are we lovers or invaders? These stories aren't rare. They're everywhere. Because the myth of Aphrodite never left. It just moved into our lives, our headlines, our hearts. Aphrodite wasn't the first goddess of love, and she wasn't the last. Her beauty, passion, and chaos echo across centuries and civilizations. Long before Aphrodite, there was Ishtar, the Mesopotamian goddess of love, sex, war, and justice. She too could make lovers weep and armies fall. She once descended into the underworld for love and nearly caused the world above to collapse. Sound familiar? In the frozen north, there was Freya, golden-haired, draped in falcon feathers, a goddess of beauty and war whose tears turned to gold. Like Aphrodite, she chose her lovers, but demanded loyalty and sacrifice in return. In Egypt, Bastet, half cat, half woman, protected love, pleasure, and fertility. But don't be fooled. If crossed, she became a lioness. This duality, nurturing yet fearsome, is a common thread. Love was never just soft. In India, Rati is the goddess of desire and passion. She's sensual, powerful, and deeply spiritual. Love not as temptation, but as sacred energy. Where Aphrodite seduced, Rati awakened. Both spoke to desire, but with different tones. Different faces, different names, but the same magnetic pull. Across the globe, humanity gave shape to the same truth. Love moves us, saves us, and sometimes ruins us. Why does every culture create a goddess of love? Because we need to explain what we can't control: desire, jealousy, heartbreak. We wrap these emotions in divine skin because they feel bigger than us. Thousands of years ago, Aphrodite rose from the sea, not with fire or thunder or conquest, but with beauty. And yet, she changed the world. What Aphrodite teaches us isn't just about romance or attraction. She shows us that love is powerful, but also unpredictable, selfish, and wild. It can build you up or unravel you. We worship beauty. We chase perfection. But Aphrodite reminds us, beauty is never just surface deep. It seduces, it manipulates, it dominates. And the more we worship it, the more we risk becoming its victims. We see her in our envy, our longing, our desperate need to be seen, to be chosen, to be desired. The truth? Love isn't a trophy, and beauty isn't a guarantee. What matters is the kind of love we give, not the love we demand. Aphrodite reminds us of what happens when we let desire rule us, and challenges us to seek something deeper. So next time you see someone flawless on a screen, ask yourself, are you admiring or surrendering? If this story made you think, like, comment, and share it with someone who needs a reminder that love is more than just appearances.